the second part of God's story is the perished kingdom. We learn in Genesis 3, Satan and his angels who rebelled in the angelic world. Satan was an angel. He had the highest responsibility in heaven, and that was to worship God. And so he was basically like the worship leader in church. He was commissioned to worship God. The problem was he wanted to be higher than God. So pride took root in Satan's heart, and pride is an evil thing. And so God, being pure light, cannot exist. So God casts Satan and a third of the angels out of heaven. He infiltrates the Garden of Eden because he's the master of deception. He tempted Eve to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And that is the one tree that God told them not to eat from. And he made Eve question herself. Even though she knew who she was in God, the serpent, or Satan, was so good at being deceptive and charming. Basically, he was saying, are you sure that God didn't want you to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? And he convinced her that she was entitled to be at the same level as God and to know everything. The problem was God knew that it was bad for them, and it was the one thing that they weren't supposed to do. So of course, one thing we're not supposed to have, we tend to want, and that is the sin nature of mankind. So Eve convinces Adam that it's okay to eat it. It caused them to experience shame, where they were naked before each other and they were aware of their nakedness. They felt vulnerable, kind of like the most vulnerable state that a person can be in is to be naked. And they covered themselves and they tried to hide from God. And God comes to see them, and he says, did you eat from the tree? And they tried to lie to God. They weren't as stealthy as Satan was. They couldn't lie to God. They couldn't get away with that. So God curses them to a life of shame. Shame, squabbling, disagreement. It divided their perfect union that they had prior to their sin. They no longer understood each other. Eve was cursed to long for Adam, and Adam basically would rule over her. Adam was forced to now work the land by the sweat of his brow.